Those who hid pets from a landlord and the landlord found out. What happened? My roommate had a fluffy orange cat already, and about 2 months into living together I adopted an old man tuxedo kitty from the shelter. I don't know why I never mentioned it to the landlady. She was a wacky hippie type who lived an hour away and almost never came to the apartment. But eventually, my roommate broke the lease and moved out of state, and I stayed till the end of the lease. When the landlady came by for the final check when I was moving out, she looked at my black and white cat and said, "Huh, I could have sworn your cat was orange. Guess I gotta slow down on the pot." I did not correct her, lol. I lived in a small basement apartment and rescued a sick, elderly cat. He wasn't capable of jumping up into the windowsill, so I didn't have to worry about that. I came home one night around 3 a.m. and caught the building supervisor, lived across the hall from me, taking out trash, and there was a cat standing in the doorway. We both froze for a moment, and then I told him I'd keep quiet about his secret cat if he would let me hide mine during inspections, and he agreed. Now we have a couple of nearly identical cats, so they get merged into a single pet on applications. My spouse and I have started collecting letters about our cleanliness as pet owners whenever we move to give to the next landlord, and so far it's worked out well. We had actually signed a pet addendum that the agent gave us and paid an additional pet deposit. Turns out the landlord had no knowledge of this, didn't give the go-ahead for an addendum to be created, and didn't allow pets at all. Fortunately, we had copies of the emails the agent sent us with the document attached. They asked us for proof of all vaccinations and parasitics from the vet, per the fake addendum, or threatened to take the whole pet deposit. We provided the documents and they didn't take any of the pet deposit. Guess the agent screwed up royally, but it was a good lesson to learn: keep absolutely everything, even if you don't think it's necessary. My landlord found out when a repair guy saw my dog's bed during a routine check. I tried playing it off as if I was just pet sitting, but the landlord didn't buy it. They ended up charging me a pet deposit retroactively, which was better than getting kicked out. At one apartment we lived at, you could have cats but not dogs. I had a very large black cat. One day I was bringing him home from the vet and carried him in my arms. The property manager saw me, and when I went back out to my car to get his carrier and my purse, the property manager told me I wasn't allowed to have dogs. When I told him I didn't have any dogs, he asked about the black dog he just saw me carrying. I laughed and told him that was my cat and he could come see if he wanted. He told me it was all right, he believed me. Weeks later, the property manager saw me and told him he saw my cat on the balcony one day and it was one of the biggest cats he had ever seen. My landlord in college allowed caged pets but had a no zoo animals policy. He tried to evict me over the fact that I own a snake. Ended up getting student legal services involved. They argued that no zoo animals is absurdly vague and that because I am not a zoo, my snake is not a zoo animal. My parents hid a cat from their landlord in their first apartment, which had a no pets policy. The cat insisted on sleeping in a window where everyone could see her. Obviously the landlord found out, but he never said anything about it other than, "That's a pretty cat you've got there." Oh, this just happened for me. Took in a stray who was meowing outside my window one night, turned out to be pregnant and gave birth a month after I let her in. Had them from the last day of May to the start of September. When the landlord found out about them, told me to either get rid of M or get M fixed. But I told her my plan was to let them stay together for the 12 weeks they're supposed to be together, then give them away to good homes, mother included. Luckily my landlord was cool about it and let me stick to my plan. Miss my babies every day. My cats all look alike, so my landlord only knows about 2, there are 4. They sit in the windows, never all at once, so I can't deny I have them. I also have some life-size cat statues on my windowsills, so it looks like I have more. Management has checked but never saw my real cats, only the fakes, and they commented on how real they look. Not the landlord, but the oldest resident of the trailer park was running the property for them. We have a Chihuahua and pug. When she met them she said, "Don't worry about it. I don't pay it either." Then we met her 6 Chihuahuas. My landlord found my hamster when getting the apartment master keys that I found on the floor from one of them employees. I found it at night and took the keys. Then first thing in the morning I called them. They wanted the keys ASAP to where they wanted to enter my apartment when I was at work. They saw the hamster and said nothing as I saved them $1,000s from having to change locks. We were looking at an apartment and realized they didn't take pets at all. The owner really liked us, newly married, very polite. She asked if we had a picture of her. It was 1991, but I had a few wedding pictures and a couple of photos of Sammy in my purse. She said, "She looks very small. Must be a miniature Siamese." I was like, "No, just cat-sized." She said, "I'm certain she's a miniature. I could allow a miniature." So our lease says, miniature Siamese, and she didn't ask us to pay any extra. And that was what it was like in the olden days, kids. Evicted. I said I've never seen that cat before. How did it get into my house? He was a stray and he did just show up in my house one day. No litter box, he had a way in and out. He mostly hung out in the enclosed porch. Rip Gus Chiggins. My parents hid my cat from the landlord in 3rd grade and then I had to get rid of her, which sucked because I started kindergarten with that cat.